What is happening, my friends? My name is Nathan and welcome to Motorcycle Training Concepts. So I'm going to do a whole series on a buyer's guide for gear and go into detail about why you should wear gear, but we're going to be talking about what happens when you don't wear gear on a motorcycle. Now, not wearing gear opens you up to things like road rash and disfiguring injuries and all of that, because gear is designed to slide, it's designed to have impact, it's designed to roll, it's designed to have all these things. Your skin isn't. So the first thing that's going to happen when you hit the ground without gear is road rash. Road rash can tear up your skin, leave you with permanent scars. It's not pretty. Chicks don't dig that, I promise. Especially when it turns all yellow and it's healing and it looks disgusting. But depending on your speed, you've got level 1, 2, 3, level 4 road rash. And that's the longer you slide on that part of your skin on the road, the deeper it's going to cut into you. Then you got taking off layers of skin, then chunks of skin, taking off muscle tissue and fat and all that. And the deeper that cut goes, the less it's going to heal. It could lead to amputations. It could lead to permanent damage. It could lead to loss of function in your limbs. Whereas just having that gear on, having that textile or that leather is going to mitigate quite a bit of that. In medical training, the first thing that we were taught was in any motorcycle accident, big or small, you have to assume immediately spinal injuries and head injuries. Now, I've heard stories of dudes working on their bikes in their garage, and then they'll put it back together and take it for a little test ride around the block, and they're going like 15 miles an hour, and a dog will run out and they'll crash into a curb, hit their head, and they'll die immediately. That's a very real risk because you just want to go check the mail, or maybe you want to go, maybe you're putting it back together and you want to go take it for a little test ride, make sure it runs properly. It's vital to wear a helmet, minimum, when you ride. It doesn't matter how short the ride is. I will suit up full gear just to go to the gas station and get an energy drink. Luckily, I haven't crashed, but I'd rather have that than not. Like I said before, you buy a phone and you put a case on it, and that case is your sacrificial piece. That if you drop your phone, you're gonna hope that that phone is okay. And that's what your gear does. The gear is not a savior, it's not your cure-all, but it's gonna mitigate a lot of chances for you to get hurt. Now, we talked about helmets, we talked about textiles and leathers, but the first thing that ever hits the ground when you crash is your hands. That's your default reaction to falling down, is to like reach over and brace yourself on something. In a motorcycle crash, it's no different. If you high side, low side, the first thing you're going to do is put your hands down because you want to catch yourself. You want to prevent damage to your core, so you're going to put your hands out. Your hands become your sacrificial pieces. So gloves. I've gone through so many gloves over the past few years, and there are some bad gloves and there are some really good gloves. But what you're looking for in gloves is that reinforced leather around the sides of your hands where your hands hit, and knuckle protection, because things like bugs and rocks and stuff fly up and they'll hit you, and that bounces right off if you've got knuckle protectors. That's cool. But on the topic of bugs and rocks and stuff flying at you, glasses, face shield. I recommend a full face helmet because it's the safest helmet out there. But if you've got your visor up, if it's a really nice day outside, I still recommend sunglasses or safety goggles, depending on if you've got a smoked lens or a clear lens to cover up afterwards. You get something in your eye at speed, that's going to be the only thing on your mind. Well, literally, because your eye is a piece of your brain. But that's going to be the only thing on your mind. That's going to be your biggest priority there, is to be able to see. And if you can't see while you're riding, that's when you're going to have to put your gear to the test if you end up crashing because you can't see. So safety goggles, sunglasses, and anything that can prevent things from getting in your eyes. One of those unspoken, like not talked about enough topics that I like to bring up every once in a while. And lastly, I think gear actually makes you a more confident rider, because if you're riding without gear, the risk of crashing and the understanding that if you crash, it's going to hurt a lot and you may end up with a lot of injuries prevents people from being confident and trusting their bike and trusting themselves. But with the mindset of a new rider, if you wear full gear right off the bat, but still have that understanding that you're new and you're learning and you're building fundamentals and you're riding within your skill level, you're riding within your means, you're not pushing anything to the limit, wearing gear is going to give you the confidence to learn, give you the confidence to make mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes. It'll allow you to grow in a more safe and secure way. And if you continue to wear gear, even when you get past that point of anxiety and nervousness and that jitters of being on the bike for the first time, make it habitual to put the gear on when you're first starting, because you're developing good habits at that point. The risk of not wearing it outweighs the time it takes to put it on, and the confidence that it gives you as a new rider to make a mistake, and it could be forgiving. And if you crash, it's not going to be the end of the world, because there's a good chance that you can mitigate all the injuries, especially if you're going slower and you're just practicing and you're working through some stuff. But wearing the gear is going to give you that confidence to make the mistakes and to be the new rider, live that role until you're not anymore. All right, that's it for this week. Today being Friday, my next video is going to be on Monday. So I hope y'all ride safe, ride smart, and I'll see you next week.